What's up, Reef Tube? So it kind of gives you, perspective of size of this reef tank. I take a lot of macro shots, so it looks larger than it really is. Yeah, I don't know. Today's video kind of go over each coral I have, my placement and where they are. A lot of people, like I said in my last video, do a lot of things a lot different than I do, but it's similar at the same time. I go strictly off of what my coral is looking like at the very moment. I do test, once in a while if I start seeing something's kind of looks funky, out of whack, like this Montipora. It's a forest fire digi out front. Had it for a long time. It was, a nice bright green, vibrant skin. Then all of a sudden, the skin just kind of went white. It still had great polyp extension, but it kind of just slowly went white. And the polyps were bright red. It still grew like crazy. It's still growing like crazy. And I moved it around, and it's slowly starting to bring some, some colors back to it. My phosphates were a little high, so for 2 weeks, I did double water changes. I do 2 gallons a week, but anytime I start seeing things get a little funky in this system, again, it does have a high bioload. I do run an algae scrubber, reactor, but my phosphates, are still a little high for what it is, mostly because of my bioload. But nonetheless, the color's coming back. It's starting to color up again. Tank is at the end of this month. It's coming up on a year, so a lot of things have changed. Mostly, my aquascape was vastly different. I ran it for a while, had some dead spots flow-wise that I didn't really like, and I changed things around. This rock over here was out back. I didn't really need it, but I put my one of my chalices there. And other than that, it's basically been doing everything I want it to, even with the higher phosphate and it's the only one, the Montipora is the only one, the Digi, that showed any kind of difference in color and all that. So, I don't even know how many different zoas now. Some of my zoas that I had frags just got run over by the other ones and basically overgrown. You can kind of see the Fruit Loops up front. I'll get you guys a close-up shot here in a second, but you can kind of see the Fruit Loops up front. They just got overrun. There was a little blue star polyps on it. They kind of look like a micro Xenia, which they might even be in the same family, I'm not sure. But those just grew over the Fruit Loops, and then the Fruit Loops then got run over with another zoa, and it's got scrambled eggs behind it, which those are they just grow like crazy for me. I don't know, this system's super weird because it's a high flow system and high light. I have my light on 100% blues with 5% reds, and it goes to a peak of 5%. It doesn't stay on 5% for like hours. It's probably 30 minutes, I think, is what it stays on. And then it tapers down over the next 2 hours, back down to 5% blue, to 100% blues only. But I really like the blue spectrum a lot. It gives the colors, a good pop. I ran just blue for a long time, but, I wanted to slowly bring up the par a little bit. And I don't measure par. I kind of do it off of, again, visualization. I look at the corals. Is something being stressed out? Is it too much light in one area? What do I, what's going on? One of those corals that's been my stress indicator, I guess you would say, is Blasta Musa out front. Had a little bit of white starting to show up on it, so I did have it at 10% whites. I kicked it back down to 5, so it's been that 5 for a while, and everything's been happy there. It's not, I'm getting good growth on my bonsai, Garf bonsai. My Oregon tort is doing good. It's encrusting really well. I'm not sure what that other acro is, but that's been encrusting decently. I have a bird's nest in there. My green slimer is just that thing. Like I said, I don't know. It don't matter what you do to it. It seems to grow. I'm pretty sure this is a style 4 Outback. I got it as a frag at the beginning, melted right down to like just the top. I had RTN, and it just literally, I think I maybe had 5 or 6 polyps on each top of the head. And I fragged it, put it on a plug, kept it in the sand bed for a long time. It started showing growth. I said, screw it, I'm going to put it up top. And I've had it over here the whole time. It went from, 2 little half-size pea heads to what it is now. It's probably, the size of a silver dollar or bigger. And everything in here is just on high flow pretty much, or moderate to high flow. Definitely high flow going across the top. I got really good polyp movement in my acros. But it's like the system's been weird about that, because I have blastos down here which are getting high flow and definitely high light, because I only have 4 or 5 inches in between the blastos and the acros, and my acros are growing decently. And those blastos went from, I don't know, I think it was 3 or 4 heads to, probably 20 heads on each one of them now, minus the other 2 blastos that are over there. But those are still growing. Those are going good. But I do have some things that I need to work on. I have a very bad breakout of bubble algae. And for some reason, I can't keep an emerald crab in this system. I don't know what it is. I have 3 hermits. They do great. I have a vast amount of snails. They have babies in here like crazy, between Mexican turbo. I probably have at least 10 babies of those running around. Bunch of other, I got 5 different types of snails in here. And the thing I've been working on is the bubble algae, like I was saying. The emerald crabs die off and I can't keep them. So what I've been doing is I've experimented with peroxide, spraying peroxide. Take a frag out, spray with peroxide on the base, or a rock, a piece of rock. And this rock over here with the chalice, I took it out, sprayed the whole thing down with bubble algae. It was covered with it. Within 4 or 5 days, bubble algae was gone. And this frag out front of my acan was covered in bubble algae. I just dipped it the other night with, I think I do it like probably a quarter ratio. So like 1/4 peroxide, 3/4 water, and do a dip on it. And then I just do a regular clean salt water afterwards to rinse it off, put it back in. So far, the acans, it's puffed back up, it's doing its thing, and the algae is dying off. But other than that, if you guys have any questions about like what I go over with, like what the light is, why I have a fan, my auto feeder, the way I have my auto top off set up, my algae reactor, any questions like that, I'm more than happy to make a video about them. Again, I do things much different. I'm very DIY oriented guy. Like to keep the cost of stuff as low as possible with the best results. And my time in reefing, I've come to the conclusion that you don't need to spend, $800 on a light to get the same performance. This light is $100 on Amazon, or was $100 on Amazon, and it grows, acros, which people talk about acros being difficult, but this light will grow them. This, mini Haiger wave maker will push out enough flow to grow SPS. It's just one of those things you need to experiment or know somebody who's done the experiments that can show you the proof behind it. Anyways, I won't ramble on anymore. I'll try and get you guys a video real quick of the tank so you can see it. So you can see the acan out front, and the bubble algae is all foggy now, so it's kind of slowly going away. You can see I have a mushroom right there, which is just too high a flow, really, is what I think is happening, and it's just kind of peeling itself off, which once it moves and eventually peels its way off, I will put it out back where my other mushrooms are. But right now it's still attached to the rock, and I don't like to mess with them too much when they're doing that. But you can see the Monty right there, and those are all frags from it over here on the frag rack. It's just, it grows, but it's faded away a little bit. But the color is coming back. It's one of those things, you know, keep stability, and with a tank that's only got maybe 9 gallons of working water in the system between the rocks and all of that in the sand, it's very easy for things to go south quick. So I kind of just try to stay up on it as best as possible. This is I guess you would call it the viewing side, even though on my back side over here is another viewing side. It's just kind of difficult to view it from this angle. Got my Garth Bonsai up top, my Green Slimer, Oregon Tort behind the Garth Bonsai. This one right here was from my buddy Paul, and it basically, same thing. I put it in the tank, and tank wasn't ready for it. I put it down low. Eventually it got some skin building up on it. I stuck it up top, and it went from green to, well, from bluish, like a bluish teal, kind of like the Oregon Tort, to green. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure. The one up above it, this acro, is a purple with like a greenish tip or yellowish tip. That's what's showing on the encrusting part. You guys have seen pictures of the candy cane and all that. So yeah, this is just a side view, kind of give you guys a chance if you guys want to ask any questions about my system, maybe some settings, what I've paid for everything, and what I do. And I do also run an Apex on this. It's just the junior, so I just use it for monitoring. As for control, I use a smart strip. Runs off Wi-Fi. One of the best investments you can do on a tank. It's only $30, I think, but you can literally shut everything off from your phone. Probably one of the best things that I've done to this. Makes it super easy to do water changes. I turn everything off, and then when everything's ready, you just turn it back on. But yeah, this is the main reef. I'm Mike, and if you guys have any questions, shoot a message or shoot a comment, and I'll make a video for you, or I'll just reply in the comments. But this is the fluval 13.5 mixed reef.